We locked in. It's the Wheel1 podcast. Got a special guest in the cut right here. It's my good friend Brittany. We be working together. You might have seen us on your TV. We just saying,
Just in a little,
yeah, a little something.
Warm up for the season with McCafe cappuccinos and lattes, made with freshly ground espresso beans and Canadian milk. Steamed, frothed, and so delicious. Share some holiday cheer with a medium latte or cappuccino for $2 plus tax starting November 8th.
But Brittany, introduce yourself to the people who don't know. Let them know.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Brittany Miller, aka I'm a Bad Bee on all social medias.
I'm gonna put that right there.
And I'm an actor, dancer, storyteller, to put in fewer words. Anything art is like my forte.
I fuck with it. As you can see, that's why we working together on
Exactly.
different occasions. You know what I'm saying? We back at it. So, Brittany, we're going to do it like how we usually do on the show. We like to just kind of like dive right into it, kind of like get a little bit about like, family life, where you come from, friends, siblings, like, just know a little bit about like early Brittany, little B.
Little baby. Okay. I am I guess first generation parents from Guyana. And I have a younger sister.
Okay.
We're 8 years apart, so
how is that now? Because like one of my older bros is like 9 years older than me, but funny enough, we're closer than my brother who's like 5 years older than me.
Yeah, no, it's so interesting because a lot of people like there's definitely a time in our life where like it was hard to like connect with each other because like she was literally a child and like I was like just like
you're a baby.
Yeah, like you're a baby, but as I get older, I think we just like get closer and closer. So yeah, we've also always been close. We're very similar. Like we have a good balance.
Okay, that's good.
Our like relationship. So
that's always good to have. Like especially with the siblings. She
was like the younger sibling that would like in high school, like sneaking people over, like on the Fridays, like the PA days, like she wouldn't tell my parents, Like,
she was low key having the lit house, like
yeah. Like I'd be like, as long as they wanted like chips or something, she's like, okay, I won't tell you that. So she's always cool.
All right, it's always good to have that, especially as a younger sibling to hold it solid. Mm-hmm. My bros and older cousins used to beat me for that one,
Yeah.
If I didn't hold it solid, I already knew what was happening, so I had to hold it down, So I do get where you're coming from. But tell me a little bit about like you said first generation, So it's like
so both my parents are from Guyana, moved here when they were like in their teens.
Okay, so now tell me about that now, because like as a person who's like first generation Canadian myself, like my parents immigrated, like how is that like just the whole parents who are just immigrants and just like growing up with that?
Oh man, I guess it's so funny because I feel like it was like one of my parents, like my dad was very like real from bush, like like, so always wanted to do things like the old school way or like the holistic way, like he was always that guy. Mm-hmm. My mom was like a little bit more like grew up in the city, like in Guyana, and like she also came when she was like to Canada when she was a little bit younger, so she had more experience being here in Canada than being back home. So I think it's like I got like that mixture of like kind of like the real immigrant ways of like doing things like I didn't even think there's so many different just nuances I feel like the internet has shown us about how we all live like these very similar lives.
Even as you're like describing that story, it just reminds me a lot of just my parents too, because like I said earlier, like what we're talking, like my dad, he's from like the country, but my mom's from like Kingston, so it's literally that like bush and city meets the middle. And then creates us somewhere down the line over here.
Yeah, suburban girl, I guess.
There's a suburban dude,
Yeah, just a suburban dude.
Look, so like, now, growing up, like, growing up here, right? I'm assuming. Yes. Which part of the city did you come from? Like, Charlotte?
I'm from like Ajax Pickering.
Okay. A little bit on east.
My parents were like probably the first black people out there.
Okay, shout out the originals, OGs on the block, just in case you didn't know.
No, but yeah, they've been out there since I was like a kid, so since I was born. So 27 years.
So how was that though? Like just growing up out there, because like you know.
So definitely grew up in elementary school where like I was like there's only one other black girl in terms of like my grade. And then I also was a dancer, and like I'm a dancer, but I did dance growing up, like trained ballet and all that kind of stuff. So that just being in that, I guess, environment also was like my whole entire dance school was like little white girls.
Like,
so
how was like that? I could imagine, because like I'm thinking me growing up, it was like almost the opposite. Like white people were like the minority.
Yes, I can, and that's the thing. I'm learning that like other people have way different experiences also, which is like so interesting. So I was like, wow, I was like really living like this anomaly life.
Yeah, because like
I just thought like, oh, okay, I guess, you know. Whereas other people are like surrounded by black people, and I was like, oh, okay.
That's what it's so interesting for you to say, because like immediately when you were like before you even said that, I would assume it was the opposite.
Really?
Yeah. Because like see, this is where assumptions, like my mother always said, make an ass out of you and me.
Yeah.
Because it's like from everyone I meet, especially like growing up around here, like in the West End, especially like I said, white people feel like the minority because like they're out here.
Yeah.
But they're like,
and that's like how my parents grew up. Like my dad like grew up in the West. Like my mom. Like pretty much in Scarborough, like them moving out there was like, you know,
we done made it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, a nice like suburban house, and like
we out of here.
Yeah,
I feel that. That's the goal, though.
Yeah. Cool, so and like money wise, like you know, it made sense, right? Like at the time, to
definitely
get property out there, and
especially now when you look at it, like you know,
yeah, exactly. Especially
came back, you know, is a blessing, you know.
Yeah.
But so like. I kind of want to get into a little bit more just about like your experience of like growing up in like a school and like doing something like that, something you love, but then being like the only black person.
Yeah, like it's a very nuanced experience. I think it's like I have a lot of like respect and like gratitude for like what it taught me, because I think like it taught me a lot of discipline. It taught me to like, you know, have some tougher skin and like all that other stuff, you know. But at the same time, it definitely was like a terribly toxic environment.
I could imagine,
because it was layered with like feeling, you know, like singled out all the time because you're black. But then also you have like the layer of like just like being a woman and like your body and like especially in the dance world, like that's like the number one thing is like, you know, like,
I didn't even think about that.
People watching your weight. Like I remember. Like, at dance, it was, like, if somebody, like, had McDonald's or something, like, their mom, like, brought them McDonald's for, like, dinner or lunch or something, because we'd be there for, like, hours, as if you're competitive. And, yeah, like, it would be, like, our dance teachers would, like, come and, like, shame you, and, like, be like, don't tell your mom not to ever bring that. I'm like...
They're fat shaming little girls.
Yeah, literally, and, like, there were so many instances, like, when I look back, that I'm like, wow, that was like really inappropriate or abusive or like just blatantly racist.
That's fucked up. Because like as you're saying this, it just kind of reminds me of like hearing those like documentaries you hear about like gymnastics and like
and like, it's funny because I only really thought about it like maybe in the last like couple years, maybe 3 years of like just all the conversation of like BLM and like just all of that coming to the forefront, and then people asking you like, have I ever like has there been any like microaggressions I've done towards you? And then I'm like, well, yeah, I guess so. I just never realized, you know, I just accepted that, you know, which is not right. Like, we shouldn't have to do that for sure. But you just kind of like don't realize until you're like given the perspective. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah. Like, my dance teacher literally said one time.
It's how you know it's fucked up. That's how you know it's gonna be fucked up. They start laughing.
She literally said, like we were doing like a production, and the whole thing is like, oh, like they always choose the same people for like the lead roles and like all that kind of thing.
Some Mean Girl shit.
Yeah, a lot of like cliquey things and like the favorites and like whatever. And we were doing, I think it was Grease. Yeah, we're doing Grease, and we were like just complaining. Like someone or not, like yeah, there's like 4 black girls, frankly, and we were complaining that like yeah, of course it's always the same people. And then it got back to our teacher, and she was like also the owner of the studio, and she was like, Well, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, it's not like we're doing the color purple.
Excuse me, bitch?
And
what the fuck?
So keep in mind, right? So this comment was made, and I was probably like 12, 13. Didn't really know what that even meant. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, that's not my, like, bruh. I'm not up to speed like that. I don't know what the color purple even is. So then at the time I was like, but it felt like racist. So I was like, that kind of felt.
You didn't even need to know what the fuck she was talking about to be like, bitch, that's racist.
I'm like, that feels racist. And then I remember going home to my mom and I was like, yeah, like, this is what my dance teacher said. And she was just like, Brittany, that's a movie about slavery. And I was like, and I remember like, what? Why the hell would she say that? And now looking back, it's just like crazy because we were just like, haha, that's crazy. And like, that was just kind of it. You know?
Mm-hmm. Like, there was nothing. Like,
there was no like.
She could say that and it was cool. Like,
yeah, there's no even slap on the wrist. It was just kind of like, yeah, she's messed up for saying that.
I'm upset right now. This is like fucking how many years later?
Yeah, no, it's weird. Like, I definitely had a little powwow with like all my old like dance girls, and like we really like unpacked like
some fucked up shit.
We really went through some really weird stuff. Like,
no, that ain't right. Still,
even down to like they would always be like, oh, like we're gonna wear our hair like this way, and then I'd be like, well, what are you gonna do with your hair? And I'd be like, I can wear my hair half up, half down. Because I felt also at the time it was like my hair was like chemically straightened for God's sake. So
you got that Eurocentral look.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like always, well, what are you guys gonna do with your hair? Like the same thing, I guess. Like
bitch, don't let me do something better. Like,
yeah, right.
They don't know. This black girl magic out here. Like, exactly. They don't know. So.
And like even down to the nude tights, that was like always like a thing. Like,
because of course, like the white.
The nude would always just be like tan colored,
and then it just would look off on you.
Just look off, and everyone would just be like, "That's fine. You guys will just look off."
Instead of like, let's find something that suits their complexion.
Yeah, like, and they existed.
Of
they
course.
weren't like right at the front of the shelf, but like they existed.
Yeah,
so.
They may have to see. That's the thing. People didn't want to put in the extra work because the standard is already set in such a way. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, people don't want to break the norm, but it's like fucked up because one, you have people in there that are different. So why would you make them feel even more different?
Yeah, exactly.
It's fucked up, you know.
Yeah.
Fuck people. Number one. I mean, we love you who's watching, but like, if you're that teacher who's watching, fuck you. No.
Yeah. Yeah, what a time.
So like, all right, we kind of got into like a little bit about that. Now I want to get into more about like some hobbies and passions that you had. Like we talked about like dancing and the arts, but like as a kid, what like was just Brittany? Like what was something that you did where you're like, this is me?
Acting.
So it's always been there.
Yeah, like I definitely left it in like the dreamland for a long time, and then came back to it in the last like 2 years.
Oh, rich!
And got an agent. Like been doing this whole like career path now.
I feel like we're on the same journey. Yeah, that's kind of the same thing for me.
Like that was what I used to do. Like my sisters were like 8 years apart, so I had a lot of time like where I was just like occupying myself and entertaining myself because my sister was like a baby. So I feel like that's like the one thing I can always look back and think about just doing for fun, like just making skits or like writing stories. Like I used to write a lot.
Okay, your pen game is strong.
Yes.
All right. I'm gonna have to holler at you about helping me out with my pen game.
Gosh, yeah, for sure. No, I definitely like English is like something I really like love and I'm passionate about.
That's
so,
great.
Like,
Are you a reader?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely a reader. I definitely should be reading more.
Nah, don't worry. I'm the same
time
too.
Is like so interesting as an adult, but if it was up to me, I would read a lot more.
I'm the same too. Like, I always tell people, especially who are readers, don't beat yourself up about not reading more. Mm-hmm. If you read one page a day, you just felt like reading one page that day. It doesn't matter. You read something. Right. You know. How many people like have been years since they picked up a book?
Exactly, that's very true.
So you got to think of it that way. Ebook or physical?
I'm physical.
Okay, cover to cover. I rate that me up. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, because I really like to like hold the pages.
You know what I'm saying? Thank you. That's the same with me. It's like I feel more in it when I'm like, okay, I'm turning the page. I'm like, and then I feel accomplished when I turn that last page, and I'm like,
just like done.
Cover to
cover.
cover.
Just like put it up there, like.
Yeah, I'm never gonna read it again.
Yeah,
but like,
but you're like, but I did.
But I did though. That's my goal in life is one day to have a library of all the books I read, just to be like, I read every.
These are all the books I've read. Yes, I agree. That's
my.
Flex.
You took the literal words out of my mouth. I was gonna be like, that's like the one flex I want to do as I get older. So
welcome to my library of books. All the books I've read.
Yeah, it makes me feel like a real like almost Victorian-esque and like
I'm very well read.
I'm posh.
Yeah.
No, oh man, so like that's crazy though. That like how you said like how acting has kind of like always been a thing and like a bug at you. Like
it's always been like that little like in the back of my head. But it's like again like immigrant parents. Like I think that's also like their fear from coming from like not here and coming from a different country and just understanding their struggles and their parents' struggles. They're just like, we don't want you to struggle. And they're like, acting, oh my God. You're going to be poor, broke forever. Like, which is essentially my mom's like, fear. Like, even going into university, like, just thinking about doing theater. My mom's like, what? Are you sure? You want to do something else? Like,
you want to do something more stable? That, like,
get a job? Like, and I'm like, right, I guess. But.
That's the thing about like early life and adulting. It's like, there's all these decisions and you don't know which one is you.
No clue. I was just like, when I think back to the time of my life, I was like, I'm just like, like just checking off boxes. So I was just like, okay, now we go to university. Okay, what do you want to do? I'm like, I want to be in movies. That's what we'll see. Write movies and be in movies.
See, you knew.
But then you say that and people are like,
they look at you funny, like, so how are you going to do that?
How are you going to do that, exactly.
And then you're like, fuck. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out. But, like, it's amazing that you kind of, like, always knew what you wanted and it never faded. You know what I'm saying? I feel for a lot of people, they give up that, whatever it is their dream. It doesn't have to be something, like, that's in front of a camera or anything like that. But a lot of people, they just give up too soon on their dreams.
No, 100%. Or just don't, like... I think it's also about, like, representation, I think, too. And, like, I think we're lucky to be in a certain time now where, there is that representation. And, like, you can now look on the TV and be like, oh, like, they're like me. Mm-hmm. Oh, I could do that, too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or, like, even just knowing people around you that are, like, doing that. And it's like, like, I think what inspired me the most is, like, I have so many people, like, that are around me that were doing it. And that were very much, like...
You can do it, too.
Yeah, like, and I'm just, like, for some reason separating myself from, like... I'm like, no, but that's, like, a whole other world. I don't even... You know what I mean? But I'm like, we came from the same place. So it was, like...
Why
definitely
not?
Just getting that confidence to be, like... We're all just, like, people. We're all just, like, walking around and trying different things, you know?
Like, sometimes... I feel like when it's your thing, we're nervous about it because we love it so much that we really don't want to fail at it. Mm-hmm. But like, you're going to eventually, and like that's the thing. And it's just about if you love it enough, you're gonna keep coming back at it.
Yeah, exactly.
And like it's amazing just to hear that you kind of had that even throughout the doubts. Like you have like the doubt and stress of like parents thinking, oh, get a real job, and then it's like your own thoughts of like, oh, maybe I should get a real job, and then it's like you see people doing it where you're like, can I really do it? Like,
I'm like, what about like I know they can do it, but can I?
So it's all these things, and then at the end you were like, fuck it, I'm at least try it. And like you got to commend yourself for that too, because I feel like I said before, a lot of people they give up way too early on their dreams, and then they're like angry working jobs that they hate, and they wonder why they like don't like their like spouse or something. It's like it's like all these combinations.
Because they're just like not living their life for them.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do sometimes. Like I always tell people, it's not bad to be selfish in a sense, because you have to be selfish in the sense of you have to be happy with your life.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for a long time I was definitely just like I was a people pleaser like a lot of the time. So it was just like I was just living for everyone else, like, except for myself. And that's why I was just, like, not doing what I actually like doing and what I'm actually good at doing, like, naturally.
Exactly.
And it was just, like, really deciding to be selfish, I think, was, like, that changing, like, switch in my brain to be, like, okay, I'm gonna choose myself. Because, like, what else am I going to do, you know? So I'm watching all these people choose themselves, and it's, like, taking them to these different places. I'm like, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just need to choose myself, you know? And people will get it. If they don't get it now, they'll get it later.
Exactly.
And so that's where I also have to just, like, okay, like, Mom, you'll get it later, you know? Like, you probably think this is crazy, but you'll get it later, you know? And then it's like, you know, then you have TV commercials running, and then you do this shit. Like,
she's so proud of you.
So proud.
Showing you off all the time.
Exactly. And it's like sometimes like you have to show people the vision. Like you can explain it to them and they just won't get it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it's not for you.
Exactly.
It's not like what you're supposed to do, you know?
Exactly. I love the way you put that and just how you kind of like wrap that up with a bow. Just like where it's just like, yeah, you know, it's tough. You got the struggles, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, we be doing shit, big shit nowadays. Yeah. So it's like they be happy now.
Now they're happy, you know.
I love that. So like, you know, one question I do like ask most people now and like on the show, especially this like just their kind of like views on the way just how like the society and the world is shaped up, and especially you as this like black woman, the industry we're in, and especially with your upbringing of being like the minority, literally.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
I represent all the black girls at my elementary school.
Just like, let me know just like how that experience is just for you. Like, you know, just living life being you.
Yeah. It's great. I mean, it is great. No, it is.
Nah, that's one of the best answers someone has given. Like, you know, life is great. Don't get it fucked up.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it definitely has challenges, I think. Like, but I always think about it like everything I've been through, I think builds character. And facts. As somebody who like wants to do comedy and like also like likes to write comedy, I'm like, I feel like that's what's made me a funny person. You know, it's like
laughing at the pain,
the trials and tribulations I've been through. Like, yeah, it's just like now it's like, yeah, we're just living life and what, like, you know, it just feels like
you're just getting through it. Really, like. I kind of
and like I just kind of take everything like day by day and try to just like learn the lessons as they go.
I love that. That's like in general because like I try to like be the same, and like my experience always just comes from some slightly different with the whole like almost dying thing. But
yeah, it's like a little bit different. Yeah, for sure.
But like it's the same premise though.
Yeah,
like, it doesn't matter
exactly.
Like
sure.
it didn't like you can get to the same direction by taking two different ways, you know. So it's like it's just great that to see that like you have that mindset, because I feel like even though there's a lot of things to be like, yeah, this world is full of shit about, we forget how fucking blessed we are.
Yes, exactly. And I think also that was like a huge turning point for me in terms of like just doing what I'm doing now is like practicing like gratitude. Like I realize I grew up like Christian, but I wouldn't say I'm like somebody who's like very religious now. But I'm very spiritual.
I was just about to say more on the spiritual vibe. Yes. I get that vibe.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
But I think like that's where I think about prayer a lot and how it's actually a really great tool.
Oh yeah,
in terms of like, it doesn't matter how you do it. If you put your hands together, if you don't put your hands, you close your eyes, you keep them open, say it out loud, say it in your head. It doesn't really matter. I think it's just like as long as you're being like conscious and like practicing
expressing that like
that gratitude, it makes it that much easier to like operate through life, because you're like just literally programming your brain to be positive, you know, and to see the good in daily life, you know.
I love how you, like, as we were talking about prayer, you drop in some gospel right now and some gems, because these are the type of things that I do every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? When I pray every day, it's mostly not even about the things I want. It's mostly just about being grateful for what I
have already. Yeah, exactly.
And just, you know, try to keep grinding, and then whatever happens. But it's like, I love that mindset that you have, and like, you know, I hope you try to like, you know, push out there to others too, because it's like, I feel that's the disconnect that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah.
Is that like gratitude and just like, yeah, maybe we're not all on one page on like a whole spiritual sense, but I feel at the same time, we all know there's like there's something bigger than us.
Of course, yeah.
And
we definitely all feel that, I think.
Yeah.
You know.
And I feel like it's always good to just show gratitude to that, because like you never know. And like, you know, it's good to just do that and just I feel it helps you just be happier about, like you said, about life, because like there's so much shit, but then when you have that gratitude, kind of makes you like laugh at it instead of cry about it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when you're thinking that way, like you're giving off certain frequency and vibration, and so you're obviously gonna attract the good things to you. You know, like what you put out, like will come back to you. So
law of attraction, all that.
Yeah, like all of that good stuff. So it's like if you're sitting there being like, oh, I'm grateful for this, like only good things are gonna come to you.
Exactly. You know, exactly. I see. I love that. Like I said, you dropping some gems and the gospel right now as we speaking about just this whole energy, and I love that. So you know, I'm kind of like gonna redirect that right into about, because we always get into the mental health aspect of things.
Yes.
So I want to know just about a time where you kind of had to face your own mental health, and like what just helped you push through that.
Yeah. Definitely, like, there's very specific instance that comes to mind. I lost my dad when I was, like, 18.
Oh, fuck. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And, like, definitely, like, daddy's girl, like, it was, like, my best friend. Like, very close. Just a good man. Like, all around. He was, like, good to my mom, good to me, my sister, like, always provided, like, he was just, like, genuinely a good man. And so it was hard because it was very sudden in the sense he had a heart attack. So, and like I was at home, and so it was kind of a traumatic experience for me at 18 because it was like, I had to like do the whole CPR and all those things. So like that was a lot like for me. I was like a kid, frankly. So,
yeah, no, for real.
I think that's when I was first faced with like real like mental illness. I think where I was like, oh, I don't feel the same as I did before. Like, that person doesn't feel like they're connected anymore. So, yeah, I think it was definitely, like, one of those times in my life where, like, I did a lot of, like, learning and, like, growth, but also, like, a lot of just, like, grief. I spent a lot of time in grief. And so I think, like, pulling myself out of that grief because I spent so much time in it was where I really faced that, like, kind of, like, mental illness and, like, depression, anxiety, and like I lost my grandma, my grandpa like 2 years after that, which was my mom's parents. So then that was really hard on my mom.
Like no one likes to see their moms. So
exactly. So it's like she lost like her parents, and then like the love of her life, and so it was a lot on my family, like my immediate family,
in a short period of time.
Yeah, in a short period of time, and I think I was young, my sister was young, so it was just like very hard to navigate, and I think that's where I had to really sit with myself after being on like a bender of like just numbing. I think like we've all been there.
Yeah, like, sure. I know those.
I'm just gonna go out. I'm gonna drink. I'm gonna smoke. Whatever your vice is, like you just take it to whatever extreme. And so I was definitely on that path, and I was just like was never home. I was always out, like just like did anything to distract myself. And yeah, I think that's when I like really was forced to like slow down and just like sit with all of that. And yeah, because I was just on a bad path. I got sick and like just all these things. Like it was like the universe literally said, okay, like you have to chill. Slow down or like you're not going to end up in a good place. So yeah, I think I really just like took the time to like really think more about what I was doing and why I'm doing it. And I think also the pandemic was like the real icing on the cake, to be honest. Because I think the isolation really forced me to like do some hard work healing, Because I was so used to like having people around. Like that was always my saving grace. It was like, oh, I just call my friends. And like my friends, well, I hang out with my friends, If I was feeling sad, I hang out with my friends. Like, So I didn't spend a lot of time alone. I was never alone. I had a hard time being alone. And I think the pandemic really was like that transformative moment where I was like, oh my gosh, like you need to curve this, like you need to feel safe when you're alone, and like comfortable and like also not even just safe or comfortable, but also just be happy. Yeah. I like feel in your own
it's always essence. Yeah, it's always like I always say it's always a big thing to like love your own company.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the pandemic definitely taught me that, which I think was like the like I said, the like icing on the cake in terms of like my healing and coming from all of that and like being on the other side, like on the top,
blossoming. You know, I love to hear that because like that's a lot. To go
my dad was always a movie person, so that's where like now I'm just like I feel like I'm fulfilling and like this feels like I'm doing something that my dad would be proud of and like
extremely. He is. So not even what he is. You know what I'm saying? Because like. Yeah, I'm proud of you, shit. Like you know what I'm saying. I'd watch versions on CBC. Chef, you'll say a little plug. We gonna talk about that a little bit later. But nah, like that's amazing just to hear like that you've come through and dealt with all that and just kind of like came back on the other side and like you can look back and see like, okay, these were the times where I was messing up and then. It all clicked at the right time. Yeah. Like sometimes, like, it's
all in, like, due time.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that was, I think, also some of my discouragement for even wanting to start acting because I was like, it's too late. It was too late.
I'm like, too old now.
I'm too old. Yeah. But it's like you said, like, everything is, like, in divine timing. So it's like, it all made sense because now I feel like I'm, like, healed enough to, like, deal with the rejection and like the self-tapes and I can laugh at it like it doesn't impact me the way it probably would like a couple of years ago.
I definitely feel you on that because like I think about myself too, like if I never go through my experiences like little things like we said like the self-tapes they would crush me because you put your soul into it and then they're just like they don't even say that to you. You're like I guess I didn't get it.
Like you have them on, like you're just acting a fool, and they just have these videos of you, and you're just like,
"This is on standby." They're just holding it. You don't even know if they watch this, let alone like if they're watching.
Or if they're watching it, just laugh. That's the worst. But again, like it's like now it's like they can laugh at that
exactly because it's just like now that you've been through everything, it's just you're just more appreciative. So it's just like when you. Like, I think I can imagine, because, like, now I'm going back to my assume bag, but, like, because, like, how I feel the same way is, like, when I get a job now, it's like, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah. Like, no, exactly. Like, I feel the same way. I'm just happy to be here. I also realize, like, what the odds really are in terms of, like, it's not even about me as, like, an individual, my personal talent with, like, commercial, at least. Mm-hmm. It's very much, like, they liked your look or not. There's so many different factors, so it's just, like, there's nothing to actually take personal, so it's like, if you pick me, I'm like, sweet.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
This is my portfolio.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, another one for the books. Like, great.
I love that. That's the type of path I'm on, too, so I really love that. Yeah. Like, and just you expressing just how you kind of, like, came through your whole situation, because, like I said, not in something easy, but, like, came through it, and then look at what's going on this side, so it's, like, even better. Yeah. So now I kind of want to get into, since we kind of like plugged it a little bit. Yeah. A little bit about your acting chops and just about, flex on them. Just a little bit about what you be starring in and just like, somewhere they can see you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just did my very first TV series as a supporting lead on CBC Gem. It's a series called Virgins. That's VIRGINS with an exclamation mark.
Point, you know what I'm saying? Because it's one of those ones.
Exactly. And if you want to watch it, you just have to download CBC Gem, and
it's free.
And you just stream it. So check it out. It's a good story. And I'm not just saying that because it's me.
Yeah, no, I'm a real. I'm a co-sign that because I watched the whole first season. First season's out. You know what I'm saying? I love the episodes are easy to digest too for some people.
Nice and quick, yeah.
And like it leaves you on cliffhangers where you're like, ooh, I want to watch this next episode. So I'm waiting on season 2, low key. I'm not just saying this because she's on the show. Like, it's real. I'm low key fanboy now. Like on the lows though, I'm holding it down.
Yeah, so go check it out for sure.
Now like. Tell me about like just with shooting that, like how that was just for you. It's like from everywhere you came from, and just the fact that like, fuck, I'm really like doing a show right now.
Yeah, it was definitely like one of those because we shot it last year September.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, August, September, and so I feel like at the time. I didn't actually understand its
what
capacity.
You were doing.
Yeah. Because, like, I knew that it was a TV series. However, we didn't know where it was going to go yet in terms of, like, what streaming service.
Okay.
But I did know that it was, like, I was like, wow, like, this like, it wasn't until we were, like, shooting, and I was like, oh, like, the wardrobe and, like, the cameras, and, like, I was like, oh, this is, like, budget. Like, right. They got budget.
Yeah. Just
you know? Like, I just, like, realized, like, I did a web series before. Mm-hmm. I'm still waiting for that to come out, because apparently it might go on a streaming service. So they put a lot of work into it, and they want it to go somewhere else.
Fingers crossed on that one, you know?
Yeah. But even with that one, like, it still felt like a little more like a web series. Whereas this, I was like, oh, this is different. You know, like, this is like...
someone's behind this, and this is getting somewhere.
This is getting somewhere for sure. Like, there's a lot of details that I was like, oh, that's important. Okay, yeah, cool. Like, you know?
Nah, facts. Because, like, as I was watching it, that's what I loved about it, was, like, it didn't feel low budget at all. I love when I watch shows and I get, like, lost in it.
Yeah.
Because then I know this is good.
This is good, exactly. I'm not, like, detaching from it.
And not picking it apart. Because once I start doing that, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is shit because of XYZ.
And as someone who watches film, like, you know, right? Like, it's hard to watch certain things because you're like, oh, I can't help but pick it apart.
Yeah, you know? And especially, like, now that we, like, work in the industry where you see how things are done, you're just like...
And you just pick up on those little things and you're like, ah!
How would they do that? Like,
yeah.
But no, I honestly loved it. It was like... It was very smooth and flow. I love your character too. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks.
Low key kind of reminded me of like you in general. Kind of like
everyone's so funny. Everyone says that, like, yeah, but Janaea is literally you, and I'm like, no, she's not.
See, that's why I said kind of felt not. Like, you know, I don't want to say
she's
it
like,
was.
She's literally my mask. Maybe she's like what I.
Oh.
But like, is she really like me? No. She's like, but that's who she actually is. Like, she's just like. I feel like a lot of people will say, "Oh, you come off really cool." But, like, if you're actually my friend, you know that I'm not, like, that cool. That makes sense.
I mean, I kind of get what you mean.
Like, I feel like Janaea, like, how I at least, like, compartmentalize her is, like, she's almost like a Rihanna.
Okay.
She just, like...
badass bitch that knows
like,
it,
she just can do whatever, and it just works. Which I don't think that's who I am.
Yeah, I love the way you're just like, no, that is not me.
And I think I think a lot more about what I put out, and I think Janaea's like, she doesn't have that, like...
She doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, she doesn't have that rapport of, like, but what if people think this? Like, she doesn't have that.
No, facts.
She's very, like, I am who I am. And
confident.
And that's why she can just, like, pour it onto... I feel like ominous character.
Yeah, nah, I definitely felt that because like that's what I felt like as I was watching. I was like, she just felt like a confident, and like too from meeting you from before, like you know, I always felt that for you, but now that we have this conversation and get deeper, you know, peel some layers off the onion. Like, I get what you mean when you're like, that's not really me.
Yeah,
because like before, like watching the show and then meeting you, like the little bit I did before, it's like okay, it seems like she's just like hers. That's why it feels so like natural.
Yeah.
But then now it's like
and like I think that's like also what I love about the show is like I guess like the characters are really like well thought out. I feel like and they just like move together really organically, and so like I think that's where I'm definitely looking forward to like playing Janaea again because I think there's a lot more to her too.
Yeah, there's a sense. That, I definitely felt that there was more to unpack there.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do in the first season. You know, you gotta bring people on slowly. But like, I did love too about the show, just about how it's the four main characters, especially. It's everyone's situation is unique, but it all kind of like correlates and they all work together.
Theme,
you know, and I love that, and it was like I said, great show. Gotta go, you know, guys, go hit that up, watch that up.
Yes, go and watch it.
So now, like, you know, we're kind of winding down. We're getting to the end of this now. Now, I usually always gotta like ask people a few things to plug themselves in.
Yes.
So, what is next for Brittany? Let us know.
What is next? I mean. What's next? I mean,
that you can talk about.
Yeah, it's like, definitely more acting, more film. However, also more directing.
Ooh.
I just directed on 2 music videos.
Oh shit!
Because I really want to Get in my director bag.
I feel that behind the camera. That's where the money's really at, though.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
And as a storyteller, I feel like that's like
it's the only way to really tell the story because like you're telling the story because you're controlling the camera.
Exactly, pretty much. So I know that's like definitely where I'm headed to in terms of like the film, TV world. I also have like some other projects that just haven't come out yet. So I did a short film that should come out next year. Okay. Yeah, and do the festival thing.
Oh shit! You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm gonna get the deets off you when we cut this camera.
It's it's good. It's a good little cheeky. I have my first on-screen kiss.
Shit! Okay, we dropping exclusives.
Yeah. So that was an experience for sure. But so that's what's next for me. There's I also did another show like I was saying before. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that will be out also in the new year.
This is a busy bee right here. It's not just the bee's not just for Bad or Brittany.
It's for busy.
You know what I'm saying? Let them know. For
baddie. But yeah, so lots of things. You can follow me on Instagram, like I said, at I'm a bad bee. If you want to keep up with me,
right here,
right here. And I also make TikToks. So
you can hit her up on the TikToks too.
Yeah.
Hit me up on the TikToks too. Like Wheel1 podcast, we out there too. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Hit all the follows.
But Brittany, thank you again for coming through. I really appreciate this. This was a great little talk that we have in here.
Yeah, this is a good combo.
It's always good to have these good conversations and like just to hear these stories because sometimes we be suing shit. We don't really know the real time. So this is why we out here. So once again, thank you for coming through.
Thank you.
Yeah. You everyone on the YouTube world, like I said, you guys already know what to do at this point in time. I've been telling you guys now.
Where's the button now? Is it here?
It's somewhere around here. But you already know. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that. And we log it out. You know what I'm saying? It's the Wheel1 podcast. Your boy Master Twice.